Good evening. Welcome to PNN's Lifestyle segment. I'm your host, Anthony O'Rourke. Tonight's headlines. Jeb Ward looks set to sweep the upcoming general election after viral video footage emerges of them dancing to John Lennon's Power to the People on the steps of the Dáil. Meanwhile, tensions rise in cabinet as a proposed legislation to ban poor people from owning Twitter accounts was passed earlier today. We'll be talking to Social Media Secretary James Kavanagh about that later this evening. And speaking of Twitter accounts, I'd like to publicly redirect my fans to my own personal Twitter account at Anthony's the Man for Me, as our official PNN account has been flooded with your personal messages as of late. And for the record, I love you guys too, but let's try and keep this professional. And save it for the DMs. We'll be talking to series regular Sarah Shannon today about her experiences at working at home with small children. Sarah is the founder of a popular lifestyle blog, You First, and she's been run ragged looking after the little ones, Luca and Saffron. So we're going to be getting into her tips and tricks for doing the woman stuff. Are you there, Sarah?
Anthony! My darling.
Aw, Sarah, how are things?
Things are so beautiful. I'm thriving. My internal meadow is in spring. I feel as if Kate Bush and Florence Welch had a love child.
Wow. That's great, Sarah. Just last week, you were run ragged with the little ones.
Oh, I was, Tony. I was. The kids were so disturbed by the change in environment.
Mine were the same. Little James was...
It was just harrowing. I think the lack of routine really disturbed their inner peace.
Right, yes. So could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, Luca was the first to show signs of unrest. He would go into a rage at the sight of his morning baby Chino. And when I told our au pair Magda to stop feeding him mangoes after 12 p.m., he began foaming at the mouth and biting her. We muzzled him, but then he resorted to headbutting.
Oh no, that sounds dreadful.
Tell me about it. And after that, it was his sister Saffron who became spiritually restless. She was always weepy, a combination of her Pisces moon and a traumatic water birth. But this was different. She just stopped speaking. Magda tried everything, bribing her with money, toys, access to solid foods after 4 p.m., but nothing worked. She was like my husband during our couples therapy sessions. Totally mute. It was heartbreaking.
Sounds like it, Sarah. And how old is little Saffron now?
She's 36 months.
Wow. They grow up so fast. So, how did you cope with all of that?
Well, at first it upset me so deeply. The energy in the house was accosting. I could barely function.
How so?
Everything was just totally out of balance. I began self-medicating with cow's milk and prescription drugs. Things seemed hopeless.
So how did you get through it, Sarah?
Well, as my readers know, I have an incredible life coach, Rhonda. And she's always talking about letting go of the things that don't serve you and freeing yourself from the shackles of toxic bonds. So that's what I did. And I've never been more content.
I'm sorry, what did you do?
I decided to rid myself of them.
Of,
The children, Tony. I set them free.
you,
They were as unhappy as me, poor things. So I cast off the shackles. Myself and Magda rose at dawn one morning and escorted the children to the outskirts of a shrouded wood. We supplied them with the appropriate materials for survival, and I set them free.
I'm sorry, you what?
And I would encourage any overwhelmed woman to do the same. Children are not contractually binding. We, as women, must pursue our bliss in whatever way we see fit. And I'll be discussing this further in my new self-help book, Do It For You.
And what about the children, Sarah? You're not a little bit concerned that they could run into some kind of trouble out there, all alone?
Not in the least. I've asked my spirit guides to watch over them. They couldn't be safer.
Right, well, I'm glad that you're feeling better, Sarah.
You and me both, Anthony darling.
Thanks for joining us this evening, and best of luck with the new book. It sounds like it's gonna write itself.
Thank you. And thanks to my viewers for their support. Make sure to tune in next week when I'll be discussing my top 10 tips and tricks for evading charges of neglect.
We look forward to hearing it, Sarah. All the best. And keep an eye out for Sarah's latest book, Chasing My Bliss, which will be hitting shelves earlier next week. Time for a short break now, folks, but don't go anywhere. Later, we're going to be talking to Sarah's life coach, Randa, about the benefits of harnessing moon power, as well as to clinical psychologist Claire Walsh about the negative long-term effects of childhood abandonment. After this.